This is a Lazy Teacher Podcast.
Welcome back to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. My name is Brian Pulowski. This is episode 7. In this episode, I had a chance to sit with Heather Campbell. She's an instructional coach in our school district. Actually, she's at my school as the instructional coach, and she's awesome. I had a great conversation with her. I mean, she is so knowledgeable about education. She was in the classroom for a long time. And from what I remember, she won a bunch of awards. I believe like Teacher of the Year at least once. And yeah, she's great. So she's a huge asset to our school district and in school. So yeah, she's an instructional coach. We came in, we talked about what that means. Is there other instructional coaches in other school districts? What's it look like across the state of California where we're at? Does other states have it? And apparently they do. So she kind of brought some of that knowledge in. But yeah, we kind of just bounced around all different kinds of topics. And it was just great talking to her. Again, like I just learned so much meeting with her. And she comes in and coaches me, you know, and that's a hard thing to admit to as a teacher. I know a few teachers don't even want to admit that they have a coach come in and work with them, but I don't think it's a bad thing, you know. She comes in, holds me accountable for certain things, and it's nice. I mean, I could definitely do it on my own, but the fact that I know she's coming in and the fact that she's going to be so helpful, it kind of makes me want to get everything done so that I can take advantage of the time with her. And it always benefits me. So it's a cool thing. Love having an instructional coach at our school, and Heather Campbell's awesome. So without further ado, here's Heather Campbell. Okay, so I wanted to start with this. Tell me what an instructional coach is. So I'm looking online at like different things trying to go, okay, what is an instructional coach? And I really couldn't find too many things other than like a college description. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's probably because there's not a ton of clear descriptions on what it is. Also could be called like a literacy coach. So an instructional coach is somebody who supports instruction. So supporting teachers and kids and just helping everybody be the best they can be. That's kind of my definition of it. So
is it weird to like be out of the classroom with no kids? Because you were in my room today with kids, and I was like, oh, I bet she misses this a little bit.
I do. I miss it a lot. It is a little weird. It took me a couple of years to kind of get used to it. But, you know, I do get to go see all the different kids. So I don't have my own classroom, but I have lots of other classrooms. So.
How often do you go into a classroom and actually get to teach?
A couple times a week, at least. I mean,
so there's teachers that call you and like set it up, or you just drop in?
No, that's part of the coaching cycle. So, you know, as you know, I've been trying to do more of that because the instructional coach role isn't super clearly defined. Mm-hmm. And when you're up in the office and there's school-wide things going on, it's almost like a magnet kind of keeps you there. So I've been really trying to pull myself out of that office and get in the classroom because that's where the impact happens. So I will go into a classroom just to like model a strategy, a lot of different behavior management type things or things we go to training and do. I'll be like, can I go try that? For example, we were at a common assessment training this last Monday and Tuesday, and we learned this little quick formative assessment, an activity with an index card. And I went in a 4th grade classroom and I was able to do it like the day after. And then a lot of times I just go in and kind of co-teach with people. That's kind of my favorite because it's 2 people up there and we kind of just bounce off each other and try different things out.
What's the objective of that? Like, so they can see how you're doing it? Or so you can see how they're doing it? Because your position is not really observational, right? Well, no, observational, but not, that's the word I'm looking for here. Like, you don't write them up and like...
Evaluative.
Evaluative.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Big word.
That's a huge word.
No, I'm not evaluative, and that's the best part about it. Like, I have nothing to do with evaluations or anything like that. I'm just a fellow colleague, so it's a very safe environment. So it could be observational, though, with just some feedback. So somebody could say, you know, come check this out and tell me how I could do this better, or what am I doing? Why aren't my kids behaving? And I can come in and I just, you know, decide what they want me to look for, and then I give them feedback. So it's like an evaluation without the evaluation part. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, you're kind of checking in and getting feedback that way. But that's my favorite part, being in the classroom and working with the kids and trying things and that kind of thing.
Because I was thinking about that today because I watched you. You were
That was fun.
Yeah, you were going over like things that like I thought I'd gone over with my kids, but they knew nothing of it when you were doing it. So then I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to invite her in, but it's really like, it's hard to admit that you need help with that.
Absolutely. That's the toughest part.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's my part too. Like, I would love to just walk in, and I think I can just walk in any classroom on this campus.
Yeah.
But I am very conscious, like, oh man, I don't want to impede or impose. That is like one of my biggest challenges. No, Heather, just go in there. Just go in there and do it. Because I always find like people are fine with it, but I hesitate because I don't, you know?
I think they'd love it. I mean, I know I would love it. It's hard to ask, though.
Yeah.
My kids were on point after you left.
Really?
Yeah. It's like you set like the bar, and I tried to maintain that bar for a while. But I don't know. Either they just went back to, oh, it's just Mr. P, or I don't know. But
it was fun. I was just trying to kind of fill the time, and you know, kinder definitely is a different world.
Yeah.
And you had all 30 of them there at that time, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So I was just like pulling out some, you know, engagement strategies I had used to see how it worked, and it was just cute how it took a couple times.
It was neat though, because I heard you going over like some whole brain teaching strategies.
That's what I was doing.
And you did one of them, and then I heard you go, okay, you don't know that one.
No, well, I think I said that because I had showed them, and then they had done it, and I'm like, oh, never mind, we didn't get it yet. Let's try again.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing.
Uh-huh.
So
I can't. It was maybe mirroring or something. It was something that I definitely had not done.
Right. Yeah. No, I was just trying to, you know, keep them busy and focus, and you know, it was fun. So I enjoyed it.
So do you miss being in the classroom?
I do.
Would you go back if you could?
I've thought about it. I really am torn because I like what I'm doing with the teachers, and you know, I do get to work with a lot of different kids. So I have mixed feelings. Some days I do miss it. And other days, you know, I feel like I have more opportunity to reach more kids. So I go back and forth. And plus, I really want to try to master this instructional coaching piece.
How do you master it?
I kind of get it down. Like, I felt like my last year in the classroom, I felt like I kind of had it. You know, it's never perfect.
Okay.
Ever, because you always get new kids. And,
you felt like you had it as a teacher in the classroom.
Right. I felt like I had, and it took me 15 years. It wasn't like overnight, right. But I feel like I'm kind of still new at instructional coaching, even though this is my 5th year and it's kind of changing. I'm figuring it out, and I still feel like I have a ton to learn. But I don't know.
How do you like judge whether you've mastered it?
I think.
How do you even master anything in education?
Well, I don't know
that you could.
I don't know if mastery is exactly the word, but you know, progress. I don't know.
Is there like a point where you feel like you're going to reach where you're like, oh, okay, I've got this. I'm ready for something else. Or does it just happen? You're like, oh, I already got this. I got to move on to something else.
I think I'll be ready to do something else. I think I'll just know. So
you just know when it happens. Yeah,
I guess if I'm not enjoying it anymore, right? I don't know. If it's like, if I dread coming to work, which I don't dread coming to work. I love coming to work.
What about when you were in the classroom?
I loved coming to work. I mean, we've had this conversation. Like, I love it. You know, it's like a hobby for me. But I just want to make sure I'm making an impact on kids, right? So if I am in this position and I don't feel like I'm reaching kids, or I'm making a difference, or making, you know, impacting learning in some way, then I know it's time to do something else. You know. So
is your position mostly working with teachers, or half and half with the kids? Like, or is it?
It's a combination. So,
because to me, it seems like your job is mainly out of the classroom, like at conferences and learning, and then you get to come back and bring stuff to us. But for the most part, I don't feel like, and I don't know, like, I don't feel like you get to get in the classroom nearly as much as you'd like.
Not as much as I'd like. And that's been one of my goals this year. And that's the hard part, because, you know, it's a lot of going to these trainings and learning all these different things, and then coming back and sharing that information with the teachers. But then also being part of the district professional development team. So spending all that time working on those district trainings and being able to deliver those. But then if you're truly working in the classroom with teachers, it takes a lot of time.
For sure.
It takes prep work, because it's not only kind of helping the teacher, but like right now I'm working with a 1st grade teacher on writing. So I have to kind of know what they're doing in writing and understand that curriculum. I'm working with a 4th grade teacher in math. So what are they learning in math? So it's not like one grade level, one set of curriculum and standards and things. It's a K-5 curriculum that you kind of have to know.
Do you have to know everybody's?
I don't know that I have to know it, but I have to be up on strategies and kind of what they're learning and where they're going to be able to support that teacher and be able to be there alongside of them.
I hadn't even thought about that. I just kind of figured whoever, Fred, the teacher, says, I need help with writing. So you brush up on what they're doing. And then you're like, oh, okay, here's some ideas. Let me see what you're doing. Maybe I could, be an outside eye and give you perspective. But you kind of have to know it before you even meet with them, right?
It depends on the teacher and where the teacher's at and what they need. And that's kind of the neat part about instructional coaching is there's not like one set way. Like some teachers, maybe like a brand new teacher, needs a lot of support where I would be more of an expert in kind of leading them. Maybe a veteran teacher doesn't really need that support. They just want that colleague to lesson plan with and get that support from. So I don't necessarily have to have the master. I don't have to know it completely all, but I kind of need to know what's going on to support them in that area.
Right.
And there's just a lot of, our district has done a ton of new things. Things have changed since I've left the classroom. I mean, we have a new math curriculum. We have a new reading curriculum. The grade book is different. We're
all the technology. Yeah.
I mean, and things are going at light speed. So it's trying to keep up on that as well.
Yeah, you mentioned you're on a committee. Is that all instructional coaches are on that committee? What you called it? It wasn't a leadership.
Like the district professional development.
No, yeah, you said you have to go to like different things because you're part of. Gosh, I should have wrote it down. I thought about it for a second. Like, I need to write that down so I can come back to it. You said part of being an instructional coach is you have to be able to go to these meetings and it sounded like you were on a committee.
What they've done this year, it's instructional coaching at the district level is changing as well. We are one of the few districts that has a site-based instructional coach. I follow a lot of groups and kind of just hear how other districts do it.
Okay.
Some districts have one instructional coach for like 2 or 3 elementary schools,
which
I have no idea how that's effective because I already feel spread super thin.
For sure.
Because there's so many different places you have to be and go. So what the district has tried to do this year is each instructional coach kind of has a focus. For example, I'm on the math. I'm like the lead math instructional coach, and I have 2 other instructional coaches that kind of help me with that. Okay.
Was that your, your idea to get on math, or did the district go, okay, Heather, you're on math, you're on the. So
they kind of divided it.
Voluntold. Gotcha.
But however, every instructional coach is on NGSS because that's brand new. So they're trying to disseminate, but then again, if you aren't a part of kind of the lead learning, then how do you implement it in the classroom? Because research shows you can go to these one-day trainings. It doesn't happen in the classroom unless there's follow through. And that's really my job is that follow through to come in. Okay, you kind of heard about that, but let's figure out what that really looks like in the classroom because it's not the same. But if we don't know what it was that you learned about, how are we supposed to help you in the classroom?
I see. Yeah. Because I've seen you at like everything that I've gone to. Are you there for all grade levels?
I try to go to all the grade
levels. It would
make
sense. Okay, so you're there for kindergarten, and then you also go to 3rd grade because, like you said, you got to see what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And then come up with suggestions on how to apply it?
Yeah, or just implement whatever the best practices was. And I like hanging out with the teachers for the day. It's just that relationship building. And that is one thing. Like when you have a classroom of students, you have them for a year, and then they're on. I feel like we have the 30 teachers here. I have year after year to build those relationships, get to know those teachers, work with them, find what helps them, find what doesn't. It's not like I only have a year like you would with students.
Right.
So it takes a while to get to know people and figure out what's best for them. So
it's hard. It's hard. I don't know how long I've been working with you, but this is the first year that you and I have worked like specifically on an instructional coach piece. And I don't know if you did it before, but I would have benefited from it before. Maybe I wasn't ready. I don't know that I would have asked. It's hard to ask. It's so hard to ask.
Yeah. And if you have any suggestions, it's super hard. I find that like people, that's probably the biggest challenge because nobody wants to ask for help. You know what I mean? So how do we make it like a normal thing? Like, you know, we're just hanging out and we're going to grow together. I learn just as much as the teacher does when we do something together.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I get to try things that I've learned about, and, you know, teaching is an art. It's a complicated system because there's so many different variables that go into it. So it's kind of a joint venture. But to be honest with you, the district, we haven't really had like formal instructional coach training. There really isn't any. We went to a 3-day workshop last year, and then I've kind of just been doing my own research, reading books, taking online courses.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, I didn't really know how to start it. So this is like my first year, and that's why at that back to school staff meeting, I was like, hey, this is what a coach does.
That was perfect.
Here you go. I sent out the survey. I got people that are like, okay, well, you know, you signed up.
Yeah.
So if people sign up, that's kind of opens the door for me to come sit down. And I can tell you, like, every like coachee that I have, it's kind of completely different because it has to be what they want.
Yeah.
Like what kind of goal they want, how often they want to meet, what do they need from me. So I'm still learning, I guess.
It was perfect how you did it. Because I think had you stood in front of our like staff meeting and said, so this is my idea, I want to become more of a coaching piece, you know, all right, well, you guys got my email, shoot me an email if you're interested. I don't know that anyone would have been interested or maybe like let you know, because you really set aside like the time and said, okay, so here's what a coach is, here's my idea. And you really kind of like approached it with like that you were vulnerable, you know, like you're like, look, I don't know what I'm doing. Like we're just learning together.
Right.
I remember hearing that and going, oh, that's so good, because I don't want someone that's like going to come in like, I know exactly how this goes, and then I'm going to feel like I'm being judged. Like I felt like, oh, okay, like I can do this with her. We can learn how to do this together.
I think that's the biggest part, is the person feeling safe. I've had like 2 people I've worked with. They're like, this is nothing what I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, yeah. So,
that's good. So you've heard other teachers mention that as well.
Yeah. So, and I always want feedback. That's just part of it. Like, okay, how can I be better? How can I be more supportive? What can I do different to help? So I'm happy to hear that they're, you know, and it's not, the coaching cycle doesn't have to be all year long. Like one teacher, we met consistently. I got in that classroom, 6 weeks. She like met her goal, and, you know, it's on. She's like, it was done. And it's like, okay, let me know if you need something else. She's like, yeah, maybe again in January or something. But you know, it's not like you sign up that, oh geez, I have to do this all year long. It just depends on what you need. So
I like it. I mean, I don't know how many goals I've set. I don't even know that I've mastered any of my goals. I have a feeling that I'm going to want to go back on some of them. Like, for example, like the make sure that all my materials are prepped.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. Honestly, I'm only doing it because I feel like you're going to check it when you come in. So it's nice that you're coming in. And I was like, no, I'm good at this. I've done it for weeks now. I know I can do it. Thanks for your help. I don't need your help anymore. Right. I think it's like the accountability. Accountability.
That's so funny because, and I think at the staff meeting, I referred back to signing up for the personal training. Like, yeah, we can go to the gym, but when I'm not going because my trainer knows I'm not going, I'm going to go. Right. So I kind of relate that accountability. It's like there's somebody that's kind of counting on you, and that's part of it. And I can say with other people that I've worked with, they've said that too. For example, I worked with a teacher. She wanted to start universal access and just never kind of got to it. But when we started the coaching cycle and we set it up, she knew I was coming in at this time to see universal access. She did it. I was coming in the next week to see universal access. And once she got it going, then it happened. But had she not had that accountability and that little bit of push, it would have been, I need to do that, but I don't ever have time in my day. Yeah, that's the thing. You never get to it because it's always the thing that you can push aside because you got everything else to do. So
maybe that's a part of being a coach, is that you're like helping hold people accountable. Yeah. Like you said, like at the gym. Mm-hmm.
No, I think absolutely. That's one piece. So that's pretty easy, just showing up, right?
For you, yeah. At least for me, when you show up, that's half of it. That's more than half of it. You just got here. I'm like, look, all my stuff's done.
You were funny though. Cause I don't know.
I'm funny?
Well, you're funny because of the accountability piece. Like,
there's not a lot in my life that like I need someone to hold me accountable to.
No, that's the weird part, huh?
Well, yeah. And I feel like I'm like that with teaching. that's the maybe, the lazy teacher type attitude.
Right.
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm lazy, but
I don't either.
God, this conversation comes up a lot.
No, it's funny because when I, was seeing your podcast and I almost wanted to say, don't let the title fool you. Like, this guy is not lazy. Like, it's different than that. You know what I mean? Because you're not a lazy person. I mean, you wouldn't be doing these cool podcasts if you were super lazy. I don't think.
Yeah.
So you got to define what you mean by lazy.
I hope it's not motivated just by things that I'm interested in, because then it would come down to, well, am I maybe not interested in teaching? But I am. I love teaching.
You are, yeah.
But I don't think if I didn't have you, or maybe it's just you, but I'm way more productive since you started, coaching with me. So I appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
I like working with you too. I think it's good. We have our set time and we kind of do it, and I think you helped me too because of that part about, I don't want to impede, I don't know. I'm like, nope, I'm going to see Miss P. Yes. I'm going in there because you help me be accountable, Good. Make you accountable.
Yeah, I can't.
Even if you push a little bit,
I can't speak for all the teachers, but I would imagine there's other teachers that are like me that just need that little bit of push to say, no, let's do it at this time.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. But maybe there's other teachers that are like, no, this is my time.
That's the hardest part. And that's something I've just learned this year. Like before it'd be like, I wouldn't set like a follow-up time to meet with them.
Yeah. And
then time would go on and it just fell apart. So I've learned, like, if you want to do a true coaching cycle, that you don't have to do that for coaching. It could be a one-time come in, give me observation feedback, and I've done that. Or it could be, I just need help with this little thing, but I don't want to do this full-blown coaching cycle.
Yeah.
But if I want to do a full-blown coaching cycle and set a goal and, really grow, I've learned to say you have to commit to a coaching meeting, okay? 30 minutes a week or 20 minutes a week, and like usually a classroom observation. If you don't want to commit to that right now, let's not do the full cycle because, it'll just be frustrating for both of us. Before, I never really had that standard because, again, I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. But I've learned that I get frustrated, they get frustrated because we don't have any consistency and we just don't kind of complete what we've started. And I feel like I drop the ball or they drop the ball. But we have to commit. Right?
Yes.
So if you really want to grow and really want to do a coaching cycle, you have to give up 30 minutes a week to have conversations. And once they do that and we start having them, I think people find them beneficial. And it's not like, oh, this is another thing I have to do. I mean, so far I haven't heard that, but and if
I don't feel like that.
Oh, good.
I honestly, I tease you and say that like
you do tease me.
Oh no, you're coming today. But I feel it. I do. I always get nervous that you're coming.
Funny.
But it's when you get here, you're not threatening. Everything's fine. But it's like, I guess the accountability over my head. I don't know. Maybe whatever it is. I like it. I don't mind it at all. But
yeah, you do tease me. So that's where I'm like, oh, does he really not want me to come?
I do.
But I'm like, I don't care if he wants me to come or not. I'm going.
And that's what you need to do.
That you help me in that way.
That's how you got to be as a coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you that and you'll be like, nope, good. Looking forward to it. See you at that time. Like, oh, gosh.
Oh, it's good.
You get used to it, though. Like now it's like it's just part of my Thursdays is, instructional coach coming in and meet with Heather. And
yep. I think it's good.
It's pretty cool. I talk about you all the time.
It's funny.
Yeah, I do.
I hope you say nice things.
No, I say wonderful things. Yeah, I've told my parents about how it's helped my teaching. And, I talk to my girl all the time about it. And she was like, she's stoked that you were going to be on the show. She's like, I need to hear this. So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people signing up or?
To be honest, I have more than I can handle. So at that first meeting, I had 6 or 7 that said, I want to start now, and about 7 that said a month from now. I haven't really got to the people that said a month from now in August. It's already December. So that I feel a little bad about that. But I have had a few people that have come in. So they signed up on the survey and, and I've got to some people. And then some people have been like, I signed up. Why haven't you contacted me? And I'm like, oh, you're coming to me again. Let's schedule this out. So I've had about 3 people like that.
Okay.
But I still have a handful that are interested that I need to kind of go approach and, are you ready? Do you want to start this? Or what are you thinking? So I definitely feel like I have.
Are you just stretched for time or what?
Time. Yeah.
It's time, right?
It is. And again, I got to prioritize and I'm trying to do that and figure out, making coaching a priority. And I'm really fortunate to have our principal's support. I mean, he's 100% on board and even supporting me with pulling back from district stuff. Although
Good.
district says, you can't take that off their plate. That's part of it. And I understand that, but I want to be effective here. I feel like this is where the impact happens on this campus, in these classrooms with these teachers.
It seems so much more beneficial than you going to meetings and then presenting at a staff meeting. Hey, this is what I learned. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm totally ignorant, but it seemed like before it was always like, hey, I'm here to help if you need me to make copies for you. And I'm not saying that was your job because you were busy everywhere, but like I felt like the impact of a teacher, like that's kind of where I felt like, oh, well, I can ask you a question or you'll come in video, but otherwise.
What benefit am I? Right. No. And I've tried to change that. And in fact, just like with the accelerated reader, I'm a really expensive secretary. So, no, I'm not going to be just inputting students into programs or doing that. I have a lot more skills and talents and can offer a lot more, but it's my job to set it up so I'm offering more. I will do anything to help a teacher and make their job easier because that's part of my role.
Yeah.
But my main goal is to make their job easier by helping them have effective strategies to make the day flow smoother. Their kids are learning more quicker, supporting them in understanding teaching and some of our struggling kids or behavior issues, that type of thing. A lot of instructional coaches don't do the EMT, the RTI stuff that I do. And I think that takes up a lot of my time, but I feel it's really connected to the whole learning process. If you're not aware what students in the school are struggling, if you're not aware what strategies or interventions and programs are going on, how are you impacting learning?
I completely agree with that.
I know a lot of them don't want that role, but I don't want to give it up because, we've talked about that. So
yeah, no, I think that's vital. That is one thing that you've done for a while is that you've offered up to teachers, like, come in, let's fill out paperwork on students. Let's discuss. You have done that for a while now that you mentioned that. That's huge. So there's other coaches that.
Well, they're not the facilitator. And I know we hate the paperwork. We can say that.
I hate the paperwork.
I kind of am starting to hate the paperwork too, but I feel bad because I feel like I haven't made it clear that it's not about the paperwork. But,
How can it not be, though? Because it's so important that to fill out there's even emails that go out. Make sure your RTI paperwork's all up to date.
Well, for example, like today, I had to talk to a 4th grade teacher, and she had a concern about this student. So pulled out their file. Yeah. And they had paperwork from kindergarten, paperwork from 2nd grade, paperwork from 3rd grade. Like I knew what the kid was struggling with in 3rd grade, blah, blah, blah. I had so much information. Like I had the life history of what has happened with this kiddo. Yeah. However, how do we make it easier so we don't have to fill out paperwork?
I don't know, because now that you mentioned that, which I guess I'm flip-flopping everywhere. It is important because I did fill out paperwork on some students, and now I have new goals. Some are just carrying on, and that's where I feel like, I'm just going to rewrite the whole thing again, which I need to. But then there's new goals for some. Like, okay, you met that goal because I wanted to set a goal where you can meet it, and they did. Now I need to set a new goal for them, which I did, but I haven't filled out the paperwork, and gosh, if I don't, I'm probably going to forget it pretty soon.
Forget their goal,
right?
Yeah,
for sure.
That's the whole point. Like, do you know exactly what this kid needs? And are you giving it to them? And I kind of relate it to like a medical file, right? When you go into the doctor and they do the test and they put in, this was your blood pressure and this was your weight, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, if you went to a new doctor and they didn't have any of that previous history, like you were allergic to this and blah, 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 they have to start all over again. So to me, that's the RTI file. Like there's some students there. There's no paperwork or anything. It doesn't seem like they've ever been to the doctor, had any issues or anything's ever been done. So we have to start at the very beginning and kind of start building that story. So vertically, that's how the paperwork helps. But I can understand just being in the classroom, the only benefit would be maybe, okay, I got to write down the goal. I'm going to write it down on this paperwork so I remember it. I'm going to put the date that I'm going to check to see if the student met it. And then this paperwork is going to force me to revisit to see if they met it. But I don't know. It bugs me that it's something people don't like because I don't want things that don't have value.
It helps talking it out, though. I don't know that I've ever expressed this much about art. Response to intervention. Response to intervention. That's what RTI is. I don't know that I've ever talked about it this much, but as we're like discussing this now, I'm like thinking it is important. Like maybe I'm not going to have kids coming up with folders, but that's just because I teach kinder. But I can imagine a third grade teacher, second grade teacher, the fourth, fifth that have had the files on it could go back and see, oh, okay, there's this, or they struggled with this, or wow, they went a whole year and they didn't meet this goal. I guess it's just the paperwork that we don't like to do, but
they're thinking we're moving into documenting in Aries. Have you ever had to do the cups?
Yes.
Which is the catch-up plans for English language learners?
Yes.
Are those as bad as RTI paperwork?
No, those are easier. Those are easier because those are like check boxes and drop downs, and there's not as much there's options.
That's what we're going to move to for RTI.
That's a good idea.
So, and to me, the cups and the RTI are the same thing. So we're going to, they're piloting it. They're trying to put it into Aries. So it's, all that basic information is there, and then it kind of goes along with the student so it doesn't get lost. So I'm excited for that next year, and hopefully we won't hate the paperwork because it'll be in Aries.
Well, I'm on board now. Now that we're talking about it, I'm on board. I get it.
Hey, that's a win.
I was surprised. Okay, I thought I had to do cups. This is so particular to just me, but I thought I had to. I have EL students. I would imagine those EL students need a catch-up plan.
They only need it if they're getting a D or an F in reading. So the catch-up plan is for the ELs that are not being successful.
Gotcha.
So you have to put a plan in place to help them catch up. And that's how those students are chosen to get that plan, which, selecting the things in the drop-down menu is great, but again, that's not going to help them catch up. It's really, do you know what your kid needs?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the student really needs? And are you giving it to them? And are you checking to see if they get it? So it's same as RTI. It's just taking that English language component into consideration.
You're so knowledgeable about this.
I like that kind of stuff. So
do you read about it? And,
the RTI stuff? Or just learning?
Just like about how to be a better coach. Like, so much about this.
I do read a lot. Yeah. I get books and I like that kind of stuff. And I think we've talked before, like on trips and stuff. That's what I enjoy. Like, I don't know. It's my passion. So
yeah,
I'm lucky, I guess.
So without picking our district, because it doesn't matter, would you say overall that the instructional coach position is similar to yours? Like, do you think other districts, like statewide, is this everywhere, or do you know?
Well, I'm part of a Voxer group that is all instructional coaches. A lot of
What's
tech
a Voxer group?
So Voxer is an app that people it's like a walkie-talkie, and you just kind of chat. And then you can listen, and then you have a conversation. It's like a live Twitter chat almost. Mm-hmm. And so you play it, and you can listen to each other and put links in there and that type of stuff. And it's TOSAs and coaches from all over the country. Oh. So that's kind of how I have some information about what other districts do. A lot of them are district-level TOSAs that are in that group. Your question was, is it similar? Yeah.
Do you think across the state or across wherever that it's... I guess what I'm saying is, do you think our district is unique in what we're doing? So you said site-wide, we're unique. A lot of districts don't have a coach.
They don't have one for every site. So they would have the district level ones that would kind of go out and have multiple sites. However, I know like in Washington, they have like 2 or 3 at one site. So, for example, like I would just be in charge of reading, which would be amazing because there's so much you can do for reading and writing, and that would be my content focus. And I would just coach in that, but I'd have a partner coach who would coach in math. And first of all, I'd have a colleague, because I do have instructional coach partners, but they're at other sites. We usually only see each other once a month. We try to get, you need that support to talk about what you're doing and coach each other, Mm-hmm. So I would say we're kind of in the middle. I think for California, we're definitely ahead because not a lot of districts fund, a local district, a neighboring district. They have 2 assistant principals. One of the assistant principals is a disciplinary regular assistant principal. The other one is an assistant principal instructional coach. And their model is if the teacher basically gets needs improved, they have to meet with the instructional coach. which I don't feel is a good system at all. Because
it's almost discipline. Right? Disciplinary.
Yeah, because if people don't want to grow or learn, you're not going to force them to. But that's how a neighboring district does it. So they do have one at most sites, but the role is a little different, how they implement their coaching.
That sounds so similar to something our district used to have, and I cannot remember the name of it. It was, let's see, if you were...
BITSA? Is that what you
No,
know?
BITSA was like for a beginning teacher.
Right.
I thought it was something where it's like if you were getting unsatisfactory on your observations or whatever.
It's like an improvement plan or something like
you had
PAR.
Peer.
Yeah, peer assistance review.
That's it.
That's what it is.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore, right?
I think they do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't need to improve, so you're good. No, they still have that.
I do need to improve.
Everybody can improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I made a note while you were talking, because I talked to another teacher that we were talking about parent conferences.
Yeah.
And this teacher did virtual parent conferences.
I'm familiar with that. It's super cool.
That is pretty awesome. What do you think of that? Like, is that something?
She shared one with me, so I got to watch it.
Okay.
I thought it was super cool. Number one, she was more detailed than you would be person to person, because you're trying to explain everything because it is virtual and you don't have the person there.
Well, tell us what she did.
So she had about, I want to say 10 documents that she already had pulled up that she had put in PDF, like just all their iStation report, their STAR report, their report card, like their multiplication facts report, like any kind of data or thing that they had been doing. And she would pull up the document and she would explain it. For example, the STAR, which is our reading program, where they would read. She would show, Johnny is reading a 2.5.
For AR, right?
Right.
Or
so,
ZPD.
Yeah. So that's second grade, 5th month. And she'd kind of show on the graph, here's where they could be. Here's how many words they're reading per minute. And she would just kind of go through and, analyze that report kind of in parent-friendly language. And she said, it was great because they could sit down and watch it again with the child, or they could forward it on to, another family member.
Yeah.
That's
what she was
cool.
telling me, is one parent sees it, the other parent couldn't make a parent conference because they're working or out of town or whatever.
Right.
You just send it. So she recorded these videos, right?
Yeah, using the Screencastify.
That's right. Okay.
So, yeah, I like screencasts.
I do too.
I know, you've done some
I
of them.
very much like it. That's a good idea. I think I might try that.
You should. I think it's
because
good.
you can always meet with the parent if they still want to meet, but half the parents don't want to come to conference.
No.
And most of the time they're just sitting there smiling, going, oh, it's good to hear all this good stuff.
Right.
But, they don't have any questions. It's just us going over the, documents and why their grades are specific to whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, she said it took a long time, 20 minutes to make each one, because she was pretty detailed, but she did it at home on a weekend on her couch, on a screencast. And then she had that time during parent conferences, and parents had questions. They just messaged her or, and she did have like an open, if you want to come in and talk to me in person, we do get to see our parents in person, because that was my question for her. Well, that's great, but how are you building those relationships and having that face-to-face communication?
True. Okay.
But she sees them before school, after school, when they're picking up the kids. They've come to back to school night, So there still is that, face-to-face relationship.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
That is important.
Got to know who you are.
You got to know.
What you look like.
That's true. So, yeah. With open house and all the different opportunities to meet your teacher, it's surprising how few parents actually even know what their teacher looks like.
I know. Or who their teacher is. Like, they'll come into the office. Okay, who's your child's teacher?
Can you tell me the names? And sometimes I'll even hear the office go through the names, and they're like, I don't know.
Right. And the name's there and they're not even sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That happens.
That's sad.
Yeah, I know.
That's
it's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I think you have those parents that know all too well, right? Those parents that are here every day and they know your dog's name and your kids' names and,
I think that's better than being an absentee parent.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in our turnout with the family night last night, but I think it could have been the time of that, it was early. People were still working, but I think it was definitely not as good as it's been in the past.
That's a tricky one. That's a really tricky one. I think it's important for the parents, but you're right. It was early.
Mm-hmm.
It was early, but then it's not too early for the teachers who are already here.
It's a long day.
There was some reluctancy among the staff not wanting to stay. You know,
I don't blame them.
Giving up a child's sports practice or something going on. And you want to be home, even if it's just to sit at home with your kids. Like,
that's a long day. We get here really early in the morning, and to stay till that late, you know. Plus, we have Christmas performances coming up, but we're going to be here late. Right, Stage Elf?
No, I'm here. I love that. I look forward to this
you like
every
it.
year. I love doing it.
That's good. Because then you don't have to stay, you know, and dread it. You enjoy it. So.
No, I do enjoy it. I'm out of the classroom a lot. That's good.
Bit. Yeah.
A whole lot. A whole week I'm out.
Yeah.
For the rehearsals and stuff.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. Because we do the day of.
Well, it's important to our principal that like everything sounds right, and he's willing to have someone cover my class, and I do all the rehearsals, and then I do the shows at night.
Yeah.
In fact, you're gonna have to do my class this year.
Okay. What do you mean?
Well, I have to be up in the chair in the front doing all the little shooby dooby dancing to help my kids out.
Oh, there you go.
Someone's got to push play.
I can do it.
I know you can do it. I know you can do it. So what's the idea? Are you going to move on to admin, or do you like just staying?
I don't have any admin credentials at this point. I got my master's in curriculum. I've thought about it, but again, it's hard moving further away from the students. Like, I feel like I'm one step away, right? I'm one step out of the classroom.
Yeah.
I feel like admin would be several more steps out of the classroom. You know, so I don't know at this point. Right now, I'm just going to kind of keep going, you know, in this direction. You know, I balance thinking about...
You've been doing it a long time, right?
This is my 5th year.
Okay.
So I want a couple more years, kind of see now that I am more in the classroom, and it's not, you know, I'm kind of trying to move away from being at school-wide, district-wide trainings, and move away from doing, you know, making, that type of thing. Being more of a real coach, getting in the classroom. I want to keep going in that direction and see if I can master that. Would you say most instructional coaches are going in the direction you're going?
Maybe not. Well, I'm sure some want to go into admin, but would you say most are doing what you're doing, like actually coaching with teachers?
I think that's the goal, but I think at every site it's different. Number one, it depends on what your principal's expectations of you are. I know some instructional coaches do discipline. I'm very fortunate. I do not have to deal with discipline. But at some sites, that's kind of what's expected of them. Like they're kind of, because a lot of sites don't have APs.
Right.
It's just the principal.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of instructional coaches run like assemblies.
I don't think you've done, well, you have run like an assembly or something, but
it's not normal.
Yeah.
Like, I will fill in and help out, but some of them, you know, that's kind of their job, or they do the morning announcements, or they, you know, they have a lot more roles. Again, like I said, I'm lucky I have the support. Like, no, I don't want to do that stuff. I want to be in the classroom with teachers. And I too think it's important that I present myself as a colleague. Like, if I'm doing a lot of admin type stuff, then teachers view me as admin. And I don't want to be viewed as admin because I'm not evaluative. I want to be a colleague. So I have to present myself in that light. So that's a fine line, I think.
That's tricky. I kind of feel like the TOSA, the teacher on special assignment, is kind of a loose description as it is. There's the instructional coach. I can think of a couple other TOSA positions in the district, and it kind of feels like they're all just like, there's no concrete, direction. Yeah, we kind of decided you're going to do this year, you know.
Well, I can tell you a couple things. One, there is like a job description. So their instructional coaches do have a job description. I'll share it with you sometime. But just this year now, there's TOSA and instructional coach are not the same. So you're not technically a TOSA? I'm not a TOSA. I'm an instructional coach, and we kind of have a personal joke amongst us, like, get out of here, you're a TOSA.
Mm-hmm.
So a TOSA is a person that is at the district level, which our district has added many. You know, in the last couple of years, we've added, I would say, 6 or 7 TOSAs that we didn't have before. So we now have a math and GSS TOSA. We have an ELD TOSA. We have an MTSS TOSA. We have an AVID TOSA. Where before those positions didn't really exist, which I think is in part to try to alleviate some of the instructional coach, you know, so we can be more at the site. They're more at the district level.
Right.
So an instructional coach is on a teacher's contract. I work the same days you work. I
That's
have the
TOSA.
same instructional coach.
Okay.
A TOSA is a district level person, and they work, I think, 15 or 20 days more. So they go into June, kind of like admin does.
Really?
Yeah. So that's recent this year.
I thought it was the same. I thought it was same pay, same hours, same everything.
Used to be, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm not a TOSA. I'm an instructional coach.
Lucky you. Is that good or is that bad?
I don't know. I don't want to work more days in June. I want to be home with my kids when they're off on summer. And that's another reason at this point I don't want to go into admin, even though it is, just another month or something like that. That's one thing about being a teacher is we get to have that time. And I think we make it up by how much we work during the school year.
That's true. Well, maybe you. I don't work a lot.
I see your truck here when I get here in the morning. So you're here early. You got to give yourself credit.
Yeah. I guess. Maybe a little bit.
But I know you said you don't take work home or anything
Never.
like that. So good for you.
I think 2 or 3 times as long as I've been a teacher. So this is my 13th year.
Okay.
I think I've only taken stuff home a couple times.
That's awesome.
I don't think it is. I think I should take stuff home more often.
Why do you say that?
Well, because there's stuff I could get done that I'm not getting done. I don't know if I don't. And therein lies the problem. A lot of teachers take stuff home and they don't even do it.
Not
so then
always.
It becomes just like a habit, like of this box you take home. But
well, when I was in the classroom, I would spend one whole weekend day working, grading papers, lesson planning, that type of thing. A whole or we'd be driving somewhere in the car, and that's when I would grade the papers. And it would drive my husband nuts because he'd just be like, can you just do something besides school?
Mm-hmm.
Now that I don't have my own students, I still do a lot of work like reading or prepping for coaching conversations or, researching things we're working on. But it's not the same as when I was in the classroom and I would have to listen to or, get all those papers graded. So it's better. I'm working less on the weekends. That's the goal.
Yeah, it's like that. It's the stereotypical look is, you go to a sports game and there's the teacher that has, grading papers and stuff like that. It's never me. Never me.
Yeah.
So tell me about the book. You got this comp book, right?
It's just a little composition notebook. Yeah. So because when I walk out my office and I run into somebody and they're, hey, and they tell me, can you help me with this and this? I take 2 steps and I forget what they say. So I bring my little notebook with me everywhere so I can say, I write it down, what they need. Because then when I finally get to where I'm going, then I can go back in my office and say, oh, yeah, I need to do this and this. Or when I'm going to those district trainings, this is where I take notes. Or when I'm getting phone numbers to call this program because this student isn't working, I put it in here. So it's just kind of my one-stop place to have all the information. So this one's almost full. But so I got to get a new one.
That's just sheets of paper. So you got to have a system for it. Because I saw you today when you were in my room. I saw you that you were making notes, but they were in the margins. Mm-hmm. And I felt like it was like a clean sheet of paper, but you were writing in the margins. So is that like a strategy? Like you... No.
No, it's kind of just a mess, to be honest with you.
So how do you even know what to go back on? Like you're like, oh yeah, I remember, Mr. Thompson wanted me to do something, but what page was that on?
Well, when I go back and I open it up, I have another notebook, which is a to-do list.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I take either I do it right then because I feel like it's something that needs to be done. And otherwise, I put it on my to-do list. And that's another way to get in the classroom more. Like, is this really urgent? Do I need to do this right this second? Or can I put it down on this list and do it when I have a moment? That's part of, figuring out my time. Like, what is most important right now? They say, there's something that's urgent or something that's important, So
if a teacher tells you something's urgent, it goes into another notebook?
Well, if it's something that I don't need to do right that minute, I'm going to put it on the to-do list. I'm going to put the to-do list away.
Okay.
Because my focus is coaching. And I think you've seen I have those notebooks, right? So every person I'm working with gets their own little notebook. It's just kind of my coaching lesson plan where I'm thinking about what kind of questions could I ask them or what was our goal. And since there's so many different people, I kind of have to keep it straight. So to be honest with you, when I'm not looking at my to-do list, it's a good thing because that means I'm focusing on my coaching notebooks, or I'm in the classroom. And I can tell you this year, I've let that to-do list kind of collect some dust and, the world hasn't fallen apart.
Yeah.
And it's been like, if I'm not working on those secretarial type things or, a lot of times teachers need resources, or, a parent needs this, or can you get me this copy of, this chart? So can you help me find this student's CAS scores from their previous school? Or, so it's more of those type of to-do things. Or can you go in the CUME and kind of, I have time to do that. I don't have students. So I can do a little bit of
I don't know that you have time to do that.
Well, that's my problem. I need to say, no, I don't have time to do that because I'm going to be in the classroom with the kids and the teachers.
I have to believe that there's not a lot of instructional coaches that do as much as you do.
I don't know. I'm not at their sites. So we do kind of go visit each other once in a while and we talk about it. And I can tell you the district is focusing more on coaching. In the past, our meetings would be more, informational, because we do have monthly instructional coach meetings. And this year, we're doing a book study. So that book I read this summer, The Art of Coaching, they bought that for all the coaches. And of course, we have to present a chapter. But it's about coaching.
Yeah.
It is funny, though. And so I got to meet with a coach, a district level person, because I need coaching too, right? Like, help me be a better coach.
Sure, of course.
But we get one meeting a year, which to me is like, if I met with my teachers once, no impact. So that's frustrating that I don't feel like we have the support from the district. Like, I had even emailed, like, in August, like, I would like a weekly meeting, a monthly meeting with this person who's supposed to help us with coaching. And that's just not going to happen. So it made me think, is this how my teachers feel? Like, when they ask me, like, oh, I can get to you next Tuesday, but they just feel like I'm too busy. I need to feel like I don't have anything to do. I'm here for you. So I don't like that I have the perception that I'm always busy, because then people are hesitant to come to me, and I want people to come to me. I
do feel like
I need
you're
to be the
always busy.
lazy instructional coach, right?
Oh, boy.
Because everybody's like, I'm so sorry to bother you. You're always so busy. I am not too busy for my teachers. I will drop what I am doing, and I will listen, whatever you need, because that's what I want to do.
So how do you take more off your plate then? I don't even know if you could get rid of that perception. I'm telling you, everybody knows how busy you are.
Well, maybe I could put my feet up in my office and play music. I don't know. You got any ideas? How can I change the perception that, I don't know, maybe I'll just go start hanging out in their classrooms and stopping by and sitting down.
Well, that would give it away. Yeah.
And
honestly,
say, I just miss the kids.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good idea. Yeah, because I want to seem available to people. That's a good strategy. I'll do that.
You just gotta swing in and be like, hey, how's it going?
Just checking it out.
Miss your kids for a little bit.
Yep. That's perfect.
Feel free to come into my room and be like, hey, if you want to leave.
No, that's not how it works. But no, I've done that, Well, and giving teachers like an hour of prep time. I mean, an hour sometimes is a lot. Sometimes that little hour helps, or during your testing or just coming in. It's interesting just going into a classroom for 5 minutes. You totally get you learn so much. Like, you can totally see what's going on. You can kind of feel what they're learning, kind of just, I don't know. It's definitely interesting. And I will say, like, it's such a different perspective than when you're in the classroom. I think everybody needs to do like a week of an instructional coach, or a week out of the classroom, because
just to observe other classes. It's
just a different world. Like, I don't know. You can't describe it. You have to experience it. It's just completely different than I ever imagined being in the classroom all the time. You just see, when you're in your classroom, you kind of see your colleagues a little bit, but you're through a very narrow lens. When you're out and in every classroom and kind of, you have a big picture.
Of course.
You can kind of see. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. It's really cool. I mean, we have an awesome school and awesome teachers, and it just...
We're lucky.
We're super lucky. People are so cool.
I have felt that a little bit, like when I've gone back up to 5th grade to walk into the 5th grade classes, just to help, like a couple of years ago, like, help with technology or whatever the case is. And it is interesting to watch, because I think, well, I was definitely a part of this, but I don't feel like I was a part of this, because it's so different. You get such a different perspective, that way.
Well, you get it just going in and helping with the tech, like you said, when you get to go into the different classrooms. So you kind of get a little taste of it. So that was my plan, you and I, to go in and do the wide-eyed with the teachers, get you a sub and go in and we'll wait a little bit on that.
Wait till
that's
it's a little
bit
more figured out.
Yeah, that'll frustrate teachers. If we're like, oh, it's coming, but it doesn't really work. No, until it is pretty seamless and easy, let's not even bring it up, because it'll just frustrate them with everything else they have to do.
Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, I don't think you can introduce something until it's pretty much all ironed out. Like as we were listening today, I kept hearing things in my head going, nope, that's not going to work. Nope, that's not going to work. I get it. Maybe, other teachers would maybe get it. There's teachers that are savvy and would probably work it out, but there's a lot that are going to be like, no.
And then you know what? Even when they fix it, they're not going to want to try it again because they had a bad experience. So, oh yeah, you're telling me now it's working.
Oh, now it works.
I've learned that lesson. Like your first time, that's your chance. And either they're going to like it and it's going to be successful and they'll carry on, or they're going to be like, yeah, I tried that before and I don't think I need to try it again because it was so, troublesome.
I see where they're going. I mean, I understand the benefit of, so WiDi being able to just carry around your laptop so that you can use it like a mobile tablet, projects or wirelessly projects onto a screen. That's nice. I get it. But as a teacher that's not tech savvy, that's going to be frustrating if it doesn't work right away.
Well, we have people that don't even want to undock their laptop. They just want to leave it plugged in. My frustration is we had a good thing going with those InterWrite pads. I mean, we had a lot of teachers using them. And in fact, when the district shut it down, we kind of still bought some and we're still using it. And because I don't know how people teach being stuck at their desk. I call it the hover cam jail.
Yes.
The hover cam that projects up onto the screen. You have to have proximity. You can, it's just, I don't know. So it's like, it was frustrating for me that they took that away and said, oh, this better thing's coming. That was 5 years ago, and it's not coming. So why can't we use technology that works? But it is what it is. So I do appreciate that we're forward thinking, but it is frustrating.
They're trying.
They are.
They're trying. And when they were presenting it today, the presentation, although they tried, was horrible. It was like, and then you do this and this and hold on. Oh, this doesn't work. And then once you get this, you kind of just figure it out. And it was like demonstrated with paint.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking that's neat, but.
Well, yeah. Well,
like you said, annotate. Teachers want to be able to bring it up and highlight, circle, hand it to a student, find me the noun, the adjective, whatever the case is.
Yeah. Yeah, do what they can do with the hover cam, but not be at the hover cam. And it doesn't look like that technology is going to do that. So again, that's a little frustrating because, you have paper copies. Everything's not online for you to pull up and annotate online. We still, we have things that we just slap under that hover cam that we project, but now we won't, I don't know how that will work with that. But
well, the camera seemed like a good idea. Take a picture of it and then you can annotate on top of it. That's just. It's just not ready yet.
Yeah, you're right. You could totally take a picture of it and use it that way. That totally works. Yeah. It'll get there. I mean, look how far we've come. We need to get you a TV, right?
I know. My goodness. Have you been to any of the classes that have those big screens?
No.
There's a teacher. I can't think what his name is. He has, I think, six 60-inch flat panels. All his walls are
I have been one at another school that has them, but the teacher wasn't really using them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I haven't seen any that are like touch screen, like in our new STEAM lab. Have you seen those hovercam TVs in there?
No.
Oh my goodness, they're so cool. You got to go look at it.
Really?
One I think is 85 inches. It is huge.
Wow, cool.
And they're interactive and they go up and down the wall. Like they slide up for the tall kids, they slide down. And that's what I was asking the gentleman today. Like, we have this, what do they call it? The hovercam pilot.
Okay.
That's going to operate all this stuff in that STEAM lab. So I want to learn how to use it because it's over there. It's ready to go. They just finished building it. And
so is the pilot like the brain of the unit?
I think so.
Okay.
But again, I don't really know anything about it. I have to learn.
I'm in like my own little world over here in Kinder. I need to go check out the lab.
That's super neat. It is.
That's awesome. So a big screen, touch screen?
2 of them. So there's an 85-inch one at the front, and then I think a 60-inch one over on another wall. And they're interactive televisions that I don't even know what they do, but they're pretty neat looking. So
that's pretty awesome.
That'll be fun.
And our STEAM lab's not open yet, though.
I think it's ready. We got to order some supplies, so that's on my to-do list. I will get to that eventually.
Why is that on your to-do list?
I don't know. I think because I have the time to kind of research it and, I know. Look at you. Shake your head. See, that's
I'm shaking my head because that's how you are. You're like, no, that ties into a teacher somehow. So I need to do it.
Yeah.
Well, my pencils need to be sharpened.
Yeah, well, that doesn't, you can do that, right? No, I feel like I've given up some things. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I swear I have given up some things. Just trying to be strategic with what I pick. But to be honest, I've had ordering supplies for the lab on my list probably for a month. But that's what I'm saying. Before I used to make sure to get that done. But I'm like, I'll get
teachers are the priority.
Right. I'll get to that when I get to it. You know, the world's not going to end. That's not, urgent right now.
Yeah.
I want to be in the classroom with the teachers. If I don't get to it in a couple months, the world's, not going to end. So I'll get to it. Well, to be honest, I kind of need to research and learn what kind of materials do we need to order. What are teachers going to do in that classroom? And I was even thinking it'd be fun to invite classes in and do some lessons. That's a way to model teaching strategies. That's a way to be with kids and teachers. So that's a thought I had to kind of do. But again, I'm not a STEAM expert. I need to go online. I need to research. I need to find, what is the best way to use this space, visit other schools, that type of thing. So just expand.
That's another good idea for what you were talking about, to like show teachers that you're available.
Yeah.
Is just say, hey, I'm going to be in the STEAM lab, bring your class in. And you probably have to have a sign up of some sort, but.
That's what I was thinking. Just a sign up, like a weekly sign up, not like a set schedule, but hey, I want to try to go in and use it for this. And the cool thing is, like, I could develop a lesson. I could do it with multiple classes. It's not like I have to have a million different lessons.
Well, that'd be the move. So you don't have to plan for every grade level. Just have something that's like applicable to every grade level, even if it's just demonstration of some sort.
It's a cool green screen in there. And I have done some green screen stuff. So yeah, we should do something with your kinders.
Yes.
So cool. There's an app for the iPad that I've used.
How have I not been in there? I need to go check that out.
It's a huge green screen.
Really?
So we got to think, what can they do? There's so much they can do with the green screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is pretty exciting.
It is. I know, you like the technology stuff.
I love the technology stuff. They were going to make that position, technology coach. Yeah. And that's, I think, where I'm a little bit jaded on the TOSA description. Turns out that, fortunately I didn't get the job because the guy that did get the job is amazing at it.
Who got the job? Or, I know you can't say.
No, Greg got it.
Oh, really?
That's the job.
Oh, to work alongside Phil?
Well, that wasn't the description. I remember I remember
when you were thinking of applying for that.
Yeah. And I was very excited about it because for maybe 4 years, no exaggeration, I've been emailing and sending letters, like physical letters, to the IT department and the district superintendent saying, I think this would be beneficial to the district. Have a technology coach that can go around. Maybe it's not site specific, but can go around into classrooms and push in to work with students similar to like what you're doing and teach the technology. So like, let's say the WIDI just came out. Teachers don't have to figure it out. You have a technology coach that'll come in, show the teacher, show the class how it works, get the kids used to it, get the teacher used to it so that the first time the students are experiencing it, it works flawlessly because, that person knows how to do it. Like that would be the idea. Or they don't know how to use Google Slides proficiently. They can come in and push in on how to do that. Or I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
And I would say other districts have TOSAs that do that. And I know that because that's kind of what I hear. Yeah. And that's kind of, I think what happens is they're located up at the district office and it's hard for them to get out. They do come out to sites. I mean, look, they came out. I emailed Greg and our Phil and right away. I mean, they're very great about you need something. They're there. Right. But again, I think they have the same problem I do. It's like you get wrapped up in district level initiatives, district level things. Yeah. And I don't even know. I think high school might be part of their responsibility. Yes. Yeah. We really need an instructional coach, technology instructional coach at each site, or maybe every 2 or 3 sites. I agree. It's too much for them. There is no way. And that's my thing. If we don't feel an impact from those people, if our life is no different, having them in those positions, are those positions really worth it? And maybe some other place feels the impact.
Right.
But does it make a difference to us whether there's that position or not? If it doesn't make a difference, then we're not feeling the impact from that position. Does that make sense?
Well, no, I agree. In that IT TOSA position that got filled by Greg, he's amazing.
He is so
absolutely. He is so good on it.
He's super cool. And
he's on top of it. But that position didn't end up being anything that I thought it was going to be. And even during the interview, I asked, so like, this is what I'm interested in. Is this like the type of position that this is? Because I know it's new to the district. Yeah, that's actually our idea. And I think the thought was there. Like you said, I think that's what they wanted it to be. But turns out, just caught up in district stuff. I mean, he helps Phil with I'm not sure. Is Phil even a TOSA anymore?
I think Phil's a TOSA.
So Phil is a TOSA.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Teacher on special assignment.
He is a teacher on
technology.
So he's not the IT director. He's basically the IT director's what's that big word? Liaison or whatever it is.
Liaison.
Yeah, he's like the face kind of IT for the most part.
Yeah.
So anyways, and that TOSA IT TOSA position basically became like an assistant to Phil, which is understandable, but I don't think Greg's gone to anything to like do technology pushing coaching or anything.
I don't know. See, I got to go on a trip with him. We went up to the Q Bold.
Yes.
Up in Northern California. And that's kind of really where I got to know him a little bit. And it was super awesome just to go to that conference and kind of talk to him and that type of stuff. So he totally knows his stuff. And
for sure.
He wants to, implement things and support people. So yeah, hopefully, again, I think that just people have a lot on their plate, and I do think they're K-12, I think, which if you think about it, we have, how many high schools, how many elementary schools, 20,000 students. I mean, it's hard to reach everybody's needs.
You can't meet all their needs.
No, can't.
We just need more money. We can create that job.
One for every school, right?
I'd be the first in line to apply for that job. That job sounds awesome.
That would be cool. You'd be good at it. Be good. So, but we can do a little mini version here. When we can get to the sub days and you can go in. I remember you did that for a couple of things. You were showing the teachers something. What was it you were showing them?
Can't remember. What was that app on the iPad? It was like, that was their
Splashtop.
Yes, that was their initial replacement for InterWrite.
Yes.
And that did not go over well.
No, but you tried and you went in there. It wasn't.
Yeah, no, I would do that over and over again. I love doing that. I feel similar to you in that I feel like I could walk into any classroom and be on point with management and take over a class and teach whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. You laugh because it is weird when they're not your kids because you don't know how they're trained or how they respond, but
it's almost easier.
Yes.
I feel like it is.
It could be in some sense because you don't know them.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like if you're confident in your management, I think it's easy to walk into any classroom and, hold court, so to speak. And
you're not in there for the whole day. You just have to do it for, an hour, sometimes half a day if it's something like that. So I don't know. Yeah. I tried it. And that's my thing. And that's what I was trying to do with your kiddos. I was teaching them my little management system.
It was great.
Just because that was something I could do really quick on. No,
it was great. The kids just did amazing after you left.
Kinders are so cute.
I love it. Yeah. I do like it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? This has been over an hour.
Oh, my goodness. Are you serious?
Isn't that great?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. Nice. It's been fun talking to you. And
I really appreciate you coming in.
No, thanks for having me.
You were a hard person to get on the show.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you kept asking. And it's just a couple times. It was just like, oh, not today. But I'm like, I have listened to some of them. So I'm like, this is going to be fun. So,
it's got to make you feel good is the Facebook comments. Did you see how many nice Facebook comments you received?
You wrote me a nice thing, so I appreciate that.
I was just being honest, but like everybody comments all these wonderful things about you. Like that's got to make you feel good.
It's nice.
You deserve it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, right on. Well, thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
There it is. All right, another one down.
Woo!
Thanks for listening to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. If you want to help support the show, you can leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, like us or subscribe on YouTube, or shoot us an email and comment at Brian, BRIAN, at thelazyteacherpodcast.com.